have done much sinning.
All men are sinners. Everything I've done, I've had good cause to do.
Man, you look at the poster for this movie, and they got George Clooney running from
He's running his ass off.
Running his ass. He ready to run from a big woman face, and you're thinking, man, this is gonna be shit. This American is action packed, boy. And in the movie,
it's not action.
Not at all.
I thought it was a movie about the Olympics.
Well, there is at least a scene where he runs, right?
Yes, there is.
He more or less kind of sprints.
But you know what? I think the mistake here is that this is a film that is not going to appeal to American movie-going audiences. I think it will really appeal to certain audiences, like the European audiences, of which this film is clearly made for.
See, when I see a title like that's what I'm thinking. Okay, it is a foreign film, but it's called The American because he stands out. Well, in America, a movie called The American, it's like, well, that's every one of us.
Yeah, I said I live this shit every day.
Exactly.
And it's boring, but
we're not George Clooney, so it's nowhere near as exciting as as him and his buddies hanging out picking up hot chicks.
All right, now let me ask you this: looking at the poster, is he an assassin or a spy?
He is an assassin. And he is hanging out.
Was on spy.
No, he's not. He's doing some spying.
Well, he's an assassin, but he's also a jack of all trades assassin. Like he might do a hit, he might make stuff for somebody else to do a hit. You know, he's been in the game for a while. He's an older guy.
He's also like a MacGyver because he can like find auto parts and make a.
I was about to say he's like an assassin / mechanic. You know, but if you can either hire him to like kill somebody or fix your car.
Okay, now as assassin stories go, 90% of them are okay. Your time in the business has come. They want to get rid of you because you know too much, and now you have to die.
Well,
like there's no assassin retirement plan.
No, there is not, and this movie reflects heavily on that. But I don't want to say too much on that issue because it does center around how long can you last in this job?
Yeah.
I mean, he's hiding out in Italy, and we don't really know what job he's doing. We just know, he's supposed to drop off something. He's supposed to take care of somebody. He's supposed to make a gun for someone. Seriously, there's a scene where they pretty much all they need is like narration on how to make your own rifle at home because they show him actually making his rifle, and you want to see George. Now, for me, I don't want whatever my criticism of this film is. I don't want it to be held against me that I don't understand a movie that's slow paced.
To be fair, you didn't get it.
Oh, shit. You know, because I know that's what people are going to say. They're going to be like, oh man, if it doesn't have car chases, explosions, and blood everywhere, then you don't like that because you're so used to high paced action American films. And because this movie, we were talking about this before, it's supposed to be a film that resembles a 70s European spy thriller.
Yeah, we're not talking exploitation film, but like the sort of like John le Carre type of stuff, the classic spy type stuff. But even more so, like take that type of thing, strip a lot of the like plot out, like where it's like, do we really need to explain this? You get the basics of this genre and this story, the older spy maybe being put out to pasture, and just make it a character piece entirely, because that's what this is. It's a really in-depth look, a quiet look at this guy whose time is all but done in this game.
Leon, this isn't Takers. All right? Well, get that out of your head. All right?
Now, I got to say, everything y'all are saying just now has me going like, ooh, this is the movie I want to see, until Cyrus said the word quiet.
Well, see, that's my problem with the movie. The movie is not that in-depth to me. It is a film where
sparse.
It's supposed to it's just so straightforward. I mean, in the movie, he's supposed to be hiding out. He's not supposed to be making any friends.
Who was the girl?
A friend.
A friend?
Who are the Swedes?
I'm working on that. It's going to take some time. Did she set you up?
She had nothing to do with it.
Pity. You can't stay here. I've made arrangements for you to leave town while I sort this out. Take a right outside the bar, then second left, via Magenta. You'll find a dark blue Fiat Tempra with Pescara plates. I've marked a small town on the map, Castelvecchio. Stay there. Lay low till you get my call. Don't talk to anyone. And above all, don't make any friends, Jack. You used to know that.
But I mean, come on, if you George Clooney, you gonna get if you look like he does, you gonna get horny, you gonna fuck something, and you gonna
at some point ass is just gonna fall out of the Italian sky.
Exactly, yeah. It's just gonna land on you. I mean, this is the kind of dude that gets hookers to fall in love with him, and he that's what he does. He's like, I gotta pay for my ass, so it's like
if he didn't have that, he'd be screwing his guns.
Yeah. And he's like, I gotta pay to have sex. I mean, come on, I know I'm supposed to be hot now, but goddamn it, I'm horny just like any other guy. So he's paying for sex, but being as George Clooney, it ain't that easy. Girls gonna be like, oh, you just gonna give me $5? Take me with you. So he gets involved with this.
Like, do you see that guy? I'm gonna tell him I love him.
Yeah. And the thing is, you don't know if he's really an up and up guy. He might be some guy who has to do really horrible things just because of his profession.
You right from the beginning know that this is not some James Bond type spy. This is like they're trying to show somebody who is like a little bit more realistic, perhaps, in the sense that maybe the film wants you to believe this is an actual spy, not a movie spy, which would be great if it didn't fall into all the levels of cliche from the story that we've actually seen before.
Well, the thing that I liked about this film is that at the beginning you don't know who this guy is or what he's about or even what's going on. Honestly, I mean, I didn't even realize it until about 30 minutes in, or at least until he meets somebody, that you find out what he really does. And I like the fact that they don't tell you immediately what's wrong with this guy. Why is he in this situation? Because it makes you wonder. It makes you interested in his character. But yeah, the thing is, the movie is very quiet because it's one of these movies. At least I guess the European sensibility is it's on film. So you're seeing everything. You don't need to have it, told to you. You don't need all this exposition. And I thought that the film really played on this guy's paranoia.
That was
which
the best
I really
part.
found it appealing.
No, there's some tense scenes in this movie where he's just looking because at any time somebody could take him out. And so he's just in the middle of a place that's just quiet except for that one guy who's behind the wall playing the violin like, you're like wondering what's going to happen. But I tell you, the movie, I like the look of this film. I mean, they captured the movie of the era it's trying to emulate.
Cinematography is excellent.
It's great.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I like that you don't know what's going on with this guy. I think that's one of the strongest things with this film. You really do have to think and put things together. I like that. But after a while, it's a straightforward film. It's a straightforward job with him, and it's a straightforward story. I mean, he's a guy who's in the game so long. His retirement is up. You got a hooker that wants to like get out of the job by going with him, and it's like this shit don't add up. Ain't nobody gonna come out winning this shit.
I agree with you. I mean, I can't disagree with you, except that I think that the goals of the filmmakers here were not to tell a new plot or something we've seen before in that sense. I think in the other way, in the way they're telling the story, despite hitting all those tropes, it is really enjoyable. I mean, it's just gorgeous scenes of Italy. They're basically hanging out in the Assassin's Creed video game, as near as I can tell. And I mean, he's not doing parkour, but he's walking around that city, and the non-stop level of tension, because really the key here is that, like I said, when they're trying to sell this as like this guy's a real guy who does this, is that he is terrified. I mean, he's tough, he's cool, he never breaks, but he is scared because there is always someone trying to kill his ass. There are constantly people around him killing, and he can't really form attachments to people because he can't let anyone know that what he does for a living. His life sucks.
I ain't never seen George Clooney jump as much as he did. Yeah. Like in this movie, he's Mr. Cool. I got to give it to him. He's Mr. Cool through the whole film. But a Vespa goes by and that motor kicks like, pah! He's up in a tree.
Yes.
he's like that crackhead in Friday. Every backfire like ooh,
and he gonna come down
through the bushes.
Yeah, and he gonna try to walk off brushing his cut off like I'm still cool. No, motherfucker, no, go clean your pants.
Yeah, no, they need him in a Friday the 13th movie. Because when that cat jumps out and goes meow, he just spray the whole camp with ammunition, and Jason be like, "Fuck that, I'm out here."
Yeah, that fool trying to George Clooney shit. Do you think you're getting shot at? You just like anybody else.
I don't know what it is as far as like how this director managed to have a scene where George Clooney is in a room by himself, and the whole scene is just tense because you feel like, oh, some shit's gonna go down. It's gonna go down now, And that's what is also great about this movie, because there are plenty of moments like that. But as far as just the general audience is concerned about somebody seeing this film, I don't think they're going to enjoy it at all. I think they're going to think it's just way too long, just nothing going on. Honestly, it's probably going to look like one of those viewfinders, starring George Clooney, where it's just like, all right, you're just going to be clicking so fast, you're going to want to get to the action. Which it does have a good payoff. I will say that the film does have a great payoff.
See, for me, it didn't. I saw that payoff coming early on. That's why I was bored. For me, I would tell people, get a postcard of Italy and cut out George Clooney and glue him to a popsicle stick and just have him walk across that postcard. I'm not. It's not that bad. No, actually,
I mean, the way it is right now, your choice is to travel through Italy either with Julia Roberts eating spaghetti or with George Clooney getting shot at.
Oh, George Clooney.
I would have rather gotten shot at.
No,
while I was watching that movie, Eat, Love, and Forget. Whatever.
Or we could have a movie where George Clooney takes out Julia Roberts. that was his target.
Ghost, you're right in that I think a lot of audiences are going to get excited about this because, wow, it's the American and it's a spy thriller with George Clooney, and then nothing really blows up. Nothing really happens on the sense of the way we have come to expect these films, But like I said, it's not that kind of film at all. It wears on its sleeve what it is, which is that it is a quiet character piece. And it's really interesting of that, that tension that goes throughout the film with him, you're rooting for him to come to some sort of satisfying conclusion, to figure a way out of this, because the tension you can cut with a knife through this whole thing, despite the lack of things happening.
The director of this is a guy who directed one of my favorite biopics, Anton Corbijn, who did Control, which was about Joy Division.
Yes.
And I actually love that movie. And this is a totally different film for him, and the guy who directed that movie, I would never figured could direct tension with so little to work with as he did in this movie. And that's what I got to give the movie credit for. George Clooney, it's not that I only feared for him, but they set him up as such a unpredictable and violent character that you don't know what he's going to do. I was scared. Every time he was around a woman in this movie, I was like, "Shit, man, you better get away from him." I don't care if he's George Clooney or not.
Well, that's the point.
That's kind of why I like the ending, because I didn't know what he was going to do.
I mean, there's hardly anything going on. There's some scenes where you're on edge, wondering who's going to pop him at any moment.
Don't you think it relies on the audience knowing this character already from having seen him in previous films, basically? So they don't need to have much exposition. It really is all about the tone, And I agree with you about the ending, though. It's okay, so you built this character we recognize, and we know this story. It's interesting the way you're telling it, but then it all comes to the most possible cliched ending you can have.
And see, that's what I mean by I had this figured out from the moment he met certain people in this film. If it was more going on, if it was deeper, if I felt like this character was deeper, because I don't feel like anybody's deeper. I feel like, it's beautiful and it has this European sensibility to it, but so what? I mean, I'm bored. I'm really bored by this film, and I know the ending, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm just going to go ahead and give this movie a rental, man.
I feel like you just didn't get it. I just had to say. I actually enjoyed the hell out of this movie. The only thing keeping me from giving this a full price was the ending, because I felt like even though they're hitting a lot of those tropes, it feels like they're going somewhere different with this. Some of the side characters are interesting. There's a priest in here who Clooney is playing off of in a sort of I don't know what to do. He's asking him for help without actually asking him for help. And it's a really interesting dynamic going on. This is an incredibly subtle film, and I thought it was gorgeous, but once again, it needed a kick in the end, and it just didn't have. So I'm going to give it a high matinee.
I enjoyed it enough to where I'll give it a matinee, only because, the tension is very thick in this film without anything going on. And there wasn't a moment in this movie where I was honestly bored, And, I mean, hey.
It sounds like you liked it more than I did, but you're only giving it a matinee.
Yeah, I'm giving it a matinee, yeah.
Okay. So what brought you down?
You know what I love, too, is that, you kind of, watching his character go through the motions, you can kind of read his inner workings as far as how his mind is really adapting to his environment and what he has to do. And even the quiet moments, even where he's putting his weapons together, which was pretty interesting and badass. I mean, I was like, man, you know what? I can watch another 20 minutes of this and be fine with it.
I will get up and leave you there.
When he's repeatedly giving it to the hot, naked prostitute.
The girl in this movie, look, let's just get out the way. She's hot. The prostitute in this film.
So hot.
But she's also really good. I was looking at her name, I never heard of it. There are tons of people in this movie who we shouldn't even pronounce because we don't know who they are.
Yeah, you don't know. You have not seen them in anything else.
But this chick here, Violante Placido, she's beautiful.
If I asked you to come away with me, would you?
Come away with you?
Why not?
Together.
Together.
Forever.
Forever.
Io ti amo. Ti amo.
She is, oh my, and she spends half the movie naked.
Yeah,
man.
almost
And
every
yeah.
scene she's in, she's naked. Like, not just slightly naked, like, naked.
I mean, like,
there's more nudity in this film than there is in Machete.
Man, almost any actor would have taken this role just because they get to spend half of it nuzzling between her boobs.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure George Clooney hired her for that reason. And I applaud him, and I applaud everything he does. That guy's my hero.
No, it was cool having her. I mean, that's one of the really things that was unpredictable to me in this movie. Like, when is she gonna take her clothes off? Because everywhere they went, she was just like, I have to take my clothes off. Like, you know, at the dinner, she's eating spaghetti. I like some sauce and take my clothes off. You know, it was like
It was scene where she's pumping gas and she just takes her clothes
take the
off.
clothes off.
A man can be rich if he has God in his heart.
I don't think God's very interested in me, Father.